In this demo, we're going to talk about using ArcGIS Field Maps for humanitarian response. Specifically, we're going to look at a post-flood scenario in Nairobi and talk through how to use field maps in order to coordinate your field workers on the ground, like assigning them to specific clinic locations, giving them the ability to submit resource requests directly from their phone, and add new data in the field, like logging medical visits. What we're looking at here is all of the existing maps that we have available to edit using our Field Maps designer. As long as we have editing turned on, we can go ahead and modify this directly in the Field Maps designer. When we open it, we're going to see all of the different layers already on our map. Let's open the Nairobi Health Facilities. Here in the form builder, that's what's going to pop up each time we add a new element. I've already turned on tasks for this particular layer. That means we can add specific people and assign them to each health facility. You can customize each element of the tasks. For example, in the In Progress pane, we want our users to be able to submit a new case using a Survey 123 form. We can also add a new Survey 123. We want our users to be able to submit resource requests for their clinics. All we have to do is take the URL from that Survey 123 and add it using the integration or link pane. We can change the display name to make it easier on our end users. So now when they pick up their tasks in the field, they'll easily see that they can make a decision to either submit a new case or submit a resource request. Next, we want to talk about actually allowing our users to submit new data in the field. Here, on our field medical visit layer, we can bring existing fields from our dataset into our form so that the user in the field can fill these out as they go. For example, we want the user to be able to fill out the visit type. We've already added the options to our dataset, so the user can pick from vaccine administration, medicine delivery, or an exam. This will then appear as a drop-down in the options when adding a point. Next, we want our field worker to be able to add the data visit, but we want to make it a little bit easier by having it default to today's date when filling out the form. We can use our Arcade editor to just bring in this date automatically using the Arcade expression now, which will input the current date and time on the device. We want to automatically fill out some other fields as well, like the date of follow-up, where we want it to be 7 days from our current date. We can also use our Arcade expressions to make more complex calculations like this. But if you're not that familiar with Arcade, don't let that stop you, because now we can actually use our Arcade assistant. We can ask the assistant questions in plain language, like get the current date and return a date 7 days into the future. The Arcade assistant is now going to generate an Arcade script that'll function directly in this interface. We could make this script a little bit more complicated by asking it to ignore holidays or perhaps only use business days. But instead, right now, we just want that date 7 days into the future. We can then go ahead and replace all of our code in that editor, and we've automatically added our new calculation. Finally, we want to add the Kenya ward where the data is being collected, but we don't want to leave it up to interpretation. We want this to interact directly with our existing Kenya polygons to return the correct information. So we can ask our Arcade assistant to interact directly with our Kenya ward feature layer that it already exists in our map. We can tell it to find the first feature that intersects with our new point, and if it finds a feature, to return the Kenya ward name. If not, we can ask it to just return null. This is going to then allow us to use multiple different feature layers to interact with each other on the map and make sure that our data is being collected correctly. Now that we have our visit type information and our 3 different calculated fields, we can test what this will look like in the map. I can open it in the map viewer and see what the experience is going to be like when adding a new point directly in the field. I can use the editing tab in order to test this. and add a new feature. You'll see I now have the drop-down option to add my visit type, and my dataset has already automatically added my Kenya ward, my data visit, and my data follow-up 7 days in the future. Lastly, for a fully operational field workflow, we want to be sure that our headquarters also has eyes on our staff and the assignments in the field. As long as there's connectivity and location sharing turned on, we can see where the field staff are, their current activity like walking or standing, battery level on their phones or devices, as well as the last update of their location. With this information, we can make accurate assignments day to day. For example, here we can see that Evelyn is assigned to clinics that are not necessarily right where she is. So, using an editor pane, I can on the fly edit her assignments. Here, I want to select the 3 facilities that she's closest to and go ahead and edit these features. I can change the assignee to one of my field staff, select Evelyn, add her as an assigned value with a medium priority, and choose today's due date. Then, I can go ahead and update these particular locations. This will automatically update on her phone, and as long as there's connectivity, she can see that she's been added to 3 new clinics right by her. We can test this by filtering our assignments back to Evelyn and ensure that our field staff's time is being used effectively with real-time updates. This is just a general overview and the number of different ways that we can make more efficient and more powerful field applications for humanitarian workflows.